The Jayhawks control the opening tap.
More often than not, Brent, they go inside to Withy early.
Elijah coming over to the left side. The embattled point guard. Here is Rutherford, the defensive whiz, going to attack the rim. Would not stay down, and it's one and done. Henriquez control for the Wildcats. Bounce pass, going hard, and scored right away is Rodney Magruder.
Right off the bat, you saw why Shane Southwell has been so important coming into this starting lineup.
Off of Withy, turn it over. Loose ball, and it's picked up by Jayhawks. Rutherford ties it. Full court pressure from Johnson.
Kansas State runs a motion offense, freedom of movement. Ball touches are important.
Rodriguez gets free, and it's blocked by Young. Jayhawks searching for their first lead. McLemore's going to attack.
Keep your eye, Brent, on Magruder and Relaford, and watch how Relaford works them off those screens.
High lob, can't be controlled. Withy with it. Another wasted opportunity for the Wildcats. Relaford spots over to McLemore. Withy going to put it down and attack the paint. Off of him, out of bounds. Jayhawk basketball. So our starting lineups here tonight for these two teams. Both feature veteran teams. Very familiar starting five for fans of both the Wildcats and the Jayhawks. Rodriguez out on Johnson. McLemore has it knocked away. Turn it over. Wildcat basketball.
Good quick hands. McLemore's got to get better at putting it on the floor.
Southwell is number one. Since he entered the lineup, Wildcats been very tough. Young with the game's first foul, and that'll send Shane Southwell to the free throw line. And already Bill Self working on the officiating crew.
Well, he felt Shane Southwell got away with an arm extension on that ball pressure, and he's letting the officials know early.
Mike Stewart, Gary Maxwell, and J.B. Caldwell are our three officials.
Brent, the game that Kansas State lost at Gonzaga in December, the next game, Shane Southwell went into the starting lineup. They're 12-2 with him handling the ball as a fourth guard. It's made a world of difference.
He brings the Wildcats even here. Johnson being hounded by Angel Rodriguez. He prefers attacking from the right side, and that's where he takes the ball. Rutherford waits for the curl. McLemore goes back outside. Now Rutherford. Sprattling on him. Knocked away from Johnson. Loose ball. Regain control. Johnson. Rutherford. The three ball. Yes.
That's critical. In the three losses, Rutherford's only taking 4 shots a game, and he's shooting over 50% on the season.
5 early points here for Rutherford. Now he is out hounding Magruder. This is Spradling. Henriquez with a high pick. Spradling fires back with the three ball and ties it.
In that first meeting, Spradling went 0 for the game, did not score. His confidence is high now.
Johnson on the dribble, floater, good. And there's a foul called on the play. Score the basket.
Elijah Johnson needs this one. He has been struggling over 7 games. Hits the floater right there. There's the contact.
So Elijah trying to complete the old-fashioned play, and our first substitute is Thomas Gibson, sturdy 6'7" sophomore, and he replaces Henriquez for Coach Weber. Southwell feeds Gibson. Gibson muscles in on Withy. Nothing doing. Rutherford controls for the Jayhawks. Rodriguez hounding him from behind. Here's Johnson, lost it, turn it over again. And Magruder's in a foot race. Rutherford cuts him off, and a foul is going to be called. Now on this block we just had seconds ago, it establishes a new record for block shots at Kansas. Let me give that record an asterisk, folks. They did not keep track of block shots during Wilt Chamberlain's era.
Well, he's now about 5 away from the Big 12 record as well, set by Chris Mim of Texas.
Non-shooting foul, ball out of bounds, catch and fire. Southwell nothing doing, and Gibson offensive foul, clearing space for the rebound. So here is Bruce Weber, his first year at Kansas State, replaced Frank Martin, who moved to South Carolina. Weber formerly coached Illinois, and he took the Illini all the way to a national championship one year where they were beaten by North Carolina. He's done a fine job with this talent left behind by Martin.
Well, I said it before, Brent. He's taken Frank Martin's residue of toughness that he left behind, and they've improved on it, both ends of the floor.
Rutherford chucks it back to Young on the drive. No. Magruder off with the rebound, and now Spradling brings it to the attack. Searches for daylight. Picked up. Back to Magruder. Wouldn't stay down, but an offensive rebound by the young man. And the three ball not there. Withy rebounds.
Kansas must attack in transition. They're not getting easy baskets in this losing streak.
Over the top to Withy. Double team. Rodriguez reaching in. Foul is going to be called. I believe it's on Gibson. It is on Gibson. That's his first foul. No, check that. That's his second foul. He picked up that other one, clearing for the rebound, remember? So that's 2 on Gibson here as we take a break.
As a coach, I always wanted the game called closely in the first 3 or 4 minutes of each half. So they established. Take a look now. Now, a little push off by Gibson there, and then he gets his hand stuck in there. There wasn't much, but I just know this. Call it early, call it both ways, so both teams adjust to the officiating and not vice versa.
3 team fouls on the Wildcats and 2 against the Jayhawks here in the early going. Now over in Manhattan, the Jayhawks got to the free throw line and the Wildcats did not. One of the differences in that game. Rutherford spot 3. Not this time. And Magruder was right there for another rebound. Rodney Magruder's been very active under the glass at both ends. Rodriguez, the fine point guard, out on top from Miami.
Watch Magruder. He keeps running off screens.
Magruder fires, not there, and Withy rebounds. Johnson is cut off. Withy now trails the group down. He'll get position. Here's McLemore celebrating his birthday today, Fran. All of 20 years old. The young man, one of the fine players in the Big 12, Ben McLemore.
You know, there's a good chance he won't be celebrating any more birthdays in Lawrence.
Withy doesn't get the roll. Battle for the rebound. Rutherford is banged by Southwell.
Take a look at this, Brent. Watch Rutherford now chase Magruder. He's going to go side to side, and he makes Magruder take a tough shot right here. Watch him come over the top, and Magruder's got to be a little bit off balance. You got to keep him moving, not let him get comfortable on that line.
Coach Weber goes to his bench. Martavius Irving, number 3, checks in, and Nino Williams, number 11.
If there's been an unsung hero for the Wildcats in Big 12 play, it's been the senior Martavius Irving.
Number 3 is out on Johnson right now. Meanwhile, Thorpe has checked in for the Jayhawks. Nader Thorpe got a long rebound, so here is Thorpe. He's one of the point guards along with Johnson. They switch out on the screen over to Johnson with 10 on the shot. Johnson attacks, dribble, kick back out, and Thorpe takes it inside the three-point line. Withy couldn't control. Here is Irving with the rebound, and down come the Wildcats, trailing by 3.
Irving has really given them a lift on both ends of the floor. 10 points in each of their last 2 road games.
Williams handling the ball. He too checked in. Magruder has been very active. Stays out there. Enriquez comes back in. He's got the ball right now. Goes into the paint with a running left-handed hook. Won't stay down. Magruder couldn't pull it away. Tharp one-hands the ball. McLemore couldn't jam it, but he'll be on the free throw line. And very upset about this call is Coach Weber. Enriquez said he did not get him.
I think what Enriquez is complaining about and more Bruce Weber is hard foul, but was it a flagrant one?
They're signaling to Bill Self he has 2 free throws coming, is what they're signaling right now.
Well, that's a tough one. Now, it's not the severity of the act.
What'd you think?
I don't think it's a hard foul. I don't think it was a flagrant one.
I don't either. But regardless, the officials thought it was, so they got 2 free throws and ball. And so Enriquez goes out, and definitely the Wildcats are swimming upstream on the whistles right now. That's 2 on Enriquez, so he's out. Gibson has 2, and so the big men for Coach Weber are in early foul trouble.
Watch, Brent. I thought he made a good play on the ball. It was a hard foul. I didn't think it went over the line. But when you have a guy that jumps this high, see, I think he made a play on the ball.
No question.
It's a judgment call. But again, the officials are erring on the side of calling this game close. That part I like.
And they must stay consistent.
Yes.
If they're going to start this way, stick with it. That's what coaches and players want.
That's right. For 40 minutes, by the way, including the final 30 seconds.
Johnson, 3 ball, no. Rebound is pulled away now by DJ Johnson, the freshman from St. Louis. Talk about a big body. When he gives a foul, you're going to feel it.
A former tight end in high school and defensive end. You can tell.
Irving, Spradling, and Johnson's right there on him. And now coming out, and Perry Ellis, the freshman from Wichita, picks up sort of a foolish foul, jumping way out on him, and it'll be ball out of bounds.
Let me tell you something interesting, Brent. They don't need Rodney Magruder to necessarily score. They've played 2 games recently against Texas and Oklahoma where he only played 2 minutes in the first half in each of them because of foul trouble.
Wildcats are trying to score here. They've been sitting on that 7 for a while, and Spradling is going to be fouled by, was it Johnson who got him over here on this side?
Yes. Now, this is what I meant. The players must adjust the officiating now and not vice versa.
Rio Adams reports in for the Jayhawks. Elijah Johnson will take a seat. So both coaches have gone heavily to the bench here with the 12:46 mark. But Magruder stays out there. Spradling, a curl, misses that time. And the battle for the rebound goes to Kansas. So Tharp will run the offense now, and Young with a left-handed wraparound. His first field goal of the night, Fran.
Yep, and Nadir Tharp gives you that quickness in transition that Johnson doesn't to get him out and run.
Wildcats need something to happen, and Relaford fouled him. So they started out calling it tight, and they're continuing.
Watch what Nadir Tharp gives Kansas now. They've scored very few baskets in transition, but he's got the quickness to push the ball, and then a great look inside. I think if you're Bill Self or Bruce Weber right now at the TV timeout, you sit them down and say, hey, look, we've got to adjust to the officials. Don't put yourself in foul trouble unnecessarily.
Elijah's going to check back in along with Angel Rodriguez. So the 2 point guards come back on the floor. Magruder do one more free throw.
Bill Self said he's one of his favorite opponents in the Big 12. What a career this young man's having.
Adrian Diaz now checks in off the Wildcat bench. Routed out. Young with the rebound. Here comes Tharp. Elijah dribbles out of the corner. Irving all over him. Rio Adams seeing his first action here tonight, and he gives it up, turns it over. Magruder, head pass. Rodriguez coming to the rim. It goes down and in.
Kansas State plays the best team defense in the Big 12 right now. Nothing comes easy.
Here's Young attacking on the inside. Back out to Tharp. Off the dribble. Kick. Young finishes. And Young very active here tonight. They come right back down to the other side, and Kansas State lost the ball. That was Irving. So we've got a break at the 11:23 mark. Sunflower Series. It has been dominated through the years by the Jayhawks. More on that when we come back. Who has dominated this rivalry? It has been the Kansas Jayhawks, 184-91, and especially recently. Only Kansas State win in Lawrence during the Big 12 era was back in 2006. There you can see some of the margins. The Jayhawks with the advantage. Now, Bruce Weber felt, talking to him at the shoot-around today, that they let one get away in Manhattan earlier this year when they were beaten by the Jayhawks. He said we were trailing the entire game, and he said we just couldn't get even with them, and we couldn't win that game. And he knew how tough it was going to be in this building here tonight.
Well, in the last 4 or 5 years, as you see a legendary figure in this building, Danny Manning, wife Julie on the left, Taylor, his daughter, on the right.
And of course, Tulsa idle for a few days. So Danny is able to attend this game. He was an assistant coach here under Bill Self until he was hired as head basketball coach at Tulsa. Bruce Weber trying to get some clarification from the officials. And Holly, what did Coach Weber have to say during that timeout?
Well, he's fairly pleased with his start. He told his team, hey guys, we're fine. It's 2-possession game right now. We're doing the right things. You talk about him feeling that they let one get away in Manhattan. He said, we didn't come out in that game with enough energy. I didn't want them to get the rivalry.
Let me tell you right now, it's a 3-possession game because Withey was wide open.
Kansas does as good a job scoring out of timeouts as anybody in the league.
The Wildcats have struggled here offensively. They have not been able to get into a good offensive rhythm against the Jayhawks. Magruder's going to try. Left hand, no whistle, but they've got it back. A fresh set.
That time Magruder got deep off the curl cut, but Withey protected the rim.
Now Southwell goes baseline. He's cut off. Withey is helping everybody defensively down low.
And he doesn't have to worry about Diaz scoring.
And there's a holding foul. So that's a 6th-team foul, I believe, on the Jayhawks here in the first half. And 5 on the Wildcats. And checking back in right now is Perry Ellis, the freshman.
Well, with Relaford getting a rest, Nadir Tharp is guarding Rodney Magruder.
Diaz will give it right back to Rodriguez. Here's Irving looking for his shot. Attacks the paint. A little hesitation jump shot. Ball out of bounds. Looking for help. It's going to go over to the Jayhawks.
And that was excellent defense by Ben McLemore. Irving went into his shot. McLemore all over him at 6'6".
So Tharp will bring the ball down, even though Johnson is on the floor.
And Tharp has given him a lift, Brent, because he's gotten him 3 easy baskets so far.
McLemore. Switch by Diaz. Gets it back now. Comes up over the top of Magruder and nails the 3 ball to make it 21-10 and a double-digit lead. timeout in Lawrence. Well, Fran, a very good start for the Jayhawks here as they lead it by double digits right now.
Well, it's the little guy, Tharp. We talked about that Kansas in that 3-game losing streak not getting easy baskets. Tharp pushes it. McLemore gets fouled. He shoots the 2 free throws. Look at Tharp again, pushing it, finding Kevin Young inside. Another easy basket. Penetration, dish off, easy basket. And then any time you drive it and kick it to McLemore for 3, chances are he's going to knock it down.
So Tharp stays in, and he'll defend Magruder. Rodriguez misses, and Tharp is right there for the defensive rebound. Magruder had taken him in low offensively, and he was right there. And there is a foul on Southwell, I believe. That's his second. Spradling checks back in.
And Gibson's back with 2 because Bruce Weber knows this game can get away from them. So why waste the big guys on the bench?
Williams also checks back in, Fran. Inbounds now to Johnson. And here is Tharp, who is off to a fine start. Goes to the left, fades on Spradling, and knocks it down. Red hot.
That's your story for Kansas right now, the youngster from Worcester, Mass.
Rodriguez on McLemore comes through the baseline, kicks Spradling, and knocks the 3-ball down. Huge hoop for the Wildcats. That's 6 2-3 balls now for Spradling tonight.
A young man that grew up about 40 miles from here in Shawnee Mission wants to play well. Back cut.
Withy finishes. Rodriguez attacks the paint, turns it over, got in deep on Withy. Tharp kicks to the other side to an open McLemore. A 3-ball. 28-13. 10 for McLemore. And Tharp is making all the difference in the world as he quarterbacks the Jayhawk offense here tonight. Magruder spins on him, has to kick it back. Spradling behind his back. Floater is very good from Nino Williams, the sophomore from St. Louis.
It's the only way he could have got that ball over Jeff Withy was put it over the top of the board.
Down by 13. Magruder is on McLemore. Cross now to Johnson. His 3-ball off iron, 1 and done.
I like Johnson's aggressiveness, and he can be with Tharp handling.
Rodriguez is going, and Johnson and Withy were there, and the foul is going to be called, and it looks like it's going to be on Johnson.
Well, it's been the little guy, Nadir Tharp. You get it to McLemore in rhythm, and you can usually count it. It's been a tough 8 days. They're starting to celebrate, but it may be too early.
Under 4 minutes to go, Brent.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. We get word that Oklahoma a winner tonight, but a very tough loss for the Sooners.
Freshman Buddy Hield broke his foot, 5th metatarsal, right foot. Will be out 4 to 6 weeks. He'll have surgery tomorrow. And he's one of those bright young freshmen in the league that's going to be around for 3 or 4 years. He's not a one-and-done guy, but he's been a big part of that Sooner resurgence.
So the Wildcats are shooting the rest of the way. Angel Rodriguez. What's interesting, Fran, is the Jayhawks here controlling the paint. And that is something that the Wildcats hope to overcome. But they're being really beaten badly in the paint. It's 14-4 Jayhawks here. And Holly, what was Bill Self's huddle like?
Well, he just told his guys, hey, you've done a good job. Get out there, have some fun. He likes that they're playing loose without the pressure of the world on their shoulders like they have been the last couple of games. They're going to run a new play that they just put in last week for Ben McLemore. They can get it open here.
No question they've discovered a point guard here so far in the early going. Young Tharp has done a masterful job, and Young kisses it in off the glass. And by using Tharp at the point, Fran, you and I have talked about the fact that Elijah Johnson can be a very good two-guard. He's a very good scorer.
Brent, that's what he is. He's been placed a round peg in a square hole this year. He is a two-guard. He's not a facilitator or connector. I think it'll take pressure off Elijah Johnson. This could be a good thing for Kansas.
The Jayhawks defense tonight has been suffocating from beginning to end, if you just joined us. Magruder pulls it up, rattles out, and there is Young, very active on the glass. The transfer from Loyola Marymount with another rebound, and here is Tharp over on the right side. Traylor is the big man handling the ball. Seeing some playing time here in the first half. Tharp gonna gun the three ball. What a night he's having. Hello. That's 5 for the young man.
He averaged about 1.5 points last year. They didn't have confidence in him last year. Slowly it's happening.
The light goes on for youngsters. We've seen it. Steal. Here comes McLemore. Spradling's back. McLemore inside him for an easy layup. Timeout. Weber wants one at 30. The Wildcats need some of that toughness that you've talked about, Fran. They're in trouble here.
Well, what Nadir Tharp has given Kansas tonight are easy baskets in transition. He's knocked down 2 big threes. And then when Relaford was out, he picked up the pace on Magruder using his quickness versus the bigger guard. Did a really nice job. So right now, he's getting everything he can do to help this team.
You know, this losing streak for the Jayhawks started against Oklahoma State on a Saturday afternoon in what was an excellent basketball game. But you know, Smart, the guard,
Marcus Smart.
You know, he's one of the best players in the conference. He just simply took the game over the last 3 minutes.
Well, he did. They scored 85 points against Kansas, so that was a problem. Then you go to TCU, a game that's one of the biggest upsets of the season.
No question.
Kansas couldn't score in that game. It hasn't been just one area that they've struggled. It's been on both offense and defense. You pointed out tonight the defense has been great. Tharp is giving them easy chances to score.
They've held the Wildcats to 16 here with about 5.5 minutes remaining inside of that, actually. Here's Magruder out on top. Southwell, pump fake, has to get back. Spradling going to gun the long ball, and it rattles out. Gibson tried to get the rebound, couldn't, and McLemore walks down the sideline. Young, and a foul is going to be called against Kansas State on Spradling.
Brent, one of the things we talked about early in this game is that Kansas was not getting out in transition in those 3 losses. Tonight you're seeing a Kansas team that the fans in Allen Fieldhouse are a little bit more used to seeing.
Well, the big man on campus is #1 over here, Tharp. This is by far the best you and I have seen anybody play the point for the Jayhawks, and what a difference it makes with this team. And that's not to put Elijah Johnson down, because you and I have talked repeatedly of fine scoring guard, and he can help you handle the ball too.
Absolutely. You know, I think if this works out, and it's still a long rest of the season, it takes the pressure off Elijah Johnson and lets him worry about defending and scoring. He was so good last year during that run to the Final Four.
The Wildcats getting nothing down in the paint area. Gibson far outside, one of their big men. Southwell will gun the 3 ball.
Oh, that's what Shane Southwell does. He really stretches your defense with the 4th perimeter player.
Now Withy is quickly back up for Bill Self, and he'll check back in at the next opportunity for the Jayhawks. McLemore. There's Tharp on the dribble. Kick it down baseline. Wrap around trailer, not there. Loose ball out of bounds.
That's what I call a virtual assist right there. When they watch the film tomorrow, they'll see that that easily could have been another assist. Trailer just didn't finish it. So on film, we'll credit Tharp with a virtual assist.
And for folks who did not watch the Jayhawks during that 3-game losing streak, they got to be wondering, how did this team lose 3 in a row with TCU in between? But I think you talked about it. It was a little bit of a crisis in confidence. Yep. They didn't recover well from that loss to Oklahoma State. They probably put a little bit too much pressure on themselves down there.
I think you're right.
At TCU had only 13 points in the first half of that game.
Boy, that was a long scoring drought.
Tharp off the dribble. Oh, what a night this youngster is having.
Well, speed kills, and what he gives you is a guy that can break down a defense in the half court and in the full court.
Wildcats are going to have to dig back in. Southwell, Gibson couldn't handle it. Ball out of bounds. Wildcat basketball. So we'll take a break, and you can see Bill Self's quarterback here tonight, and what a job he has done. Just like Fran said, nothing matches great speed. He puts it away. All right, Reese, thank you very much. And you mentioned Tharp. He also has 4 assists, no turnovers, 2 rebounds, and he has set up McLemore repeatedly here in the first half. Fran, talk about Ben McLemore. We're sort of overlooking what he's contributed.
Well, he's such an efficient scorer, Brent. You know, when he scored 33 early in the year against Iowa State, I think he did it on 11 shots. Tonight he's got 12. He's about to try to add to that. He's only taken 5 shots. Efficient and skilled.
And if you watch this, you would say that the Jayhawks were just lending first place to the Wildcats. Just, you know, you got to give it back.
You got to give it back at some point. It always goes through Lawrence.
It's what we've seen so far.
Yep.
13 points. McLemore on his birthday made all 3 of his free throws. Again, celebrating his 20th birthday here tonight. He was, folks, I should point out, he was the first Jayhawk to come out tonight in the pre-game shoot-around. He worked all around the floor on his 3-point shot. Then he went to the free throw line all alone. A couple of ball boys came out and helped him. He was a very hard worker prior to this game, and Wildcats now turn it back over. Things are really breaking down here for Coach Weber's team.
You know, this is a tough place. It's been especially tough for Kansas State through the years. In fact, the last 5 or 6 times I've been in here, it's been games like this. You can't beat Kansas without staying close early. That's an obvious point, but you don't want to get knocked out in the 3rd round. Let me tell you, Brent, Kansas still has to go to Oklahoma State, Baylor, and Iowa State on Big Monday. We'll be there. So they look like the Kansas of old so far, but a lot of tough games left.
Not to mention the second half of this game.
Absolutely.
You know, you mentioned early in the broadcast that you thought Kansas State had the best team defense in the league. We haven't seen that here tonight. In fact, it has been the Jayhawks. And there's a foul down away from the ball on the inside. Going to go against the Wildcats, and that is number 3 on Gibson. So Gibson in foul trouble. Henriquez reports back in for Coach Weber. What a regular season in college basketball, Fran. Just when I thought that Indiana might be the best team in the country, I watched Miami on television on Saturday, and I got to tell you, I think the Hurricanes can play with anybody.
Well, I agree. You know, the thing about Jim Larinaga's team is they're deep. They got size, and I'm in love with Shane Larkin, their point guard, the sophomore, Barry Larkin's son.
Oh yeah, watching Pops in the stand. Watch his his son, quarterback that offense. They are the first team in ACC conference history to beat both Duke and North Carolina by more than 25 points in a season. That's how good they've been this year. Rodriguez 3-ball knocks it down for the Wildcats. Trying to get something together here in the last 2.5 minutes. Something to build on.
Well, that's exactly right. If you can get it to 12, you can get some stops, get a couple baskets. You want to give yourself a chance.
Young tried to stay with it, and Withey is going to be on the free throw line. Here comes Jeff Withey. You know, he's shooting only 68% on the free throw line this year. I remember last year he was shooting free throws at about 80%.
That's exactly right. But I'll tell you this, he's come so far in 3 years at Kansas. There was a time I thought he would not play meaningful minutes for Bill Self.
Has 4 points here tonight, and he's missed his only free throw of the evening. Reminder that ESPN College Basketball available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. Watch ESPN.com and with the Watch ESPN app. Rio Adams replaces Rutherford. You know, the other thing I've noticed about Tharp, and I didn't know that much about the game. You know a lot more about it, Fran, but I think he's played very good defense here tonight.
He sure has. He's quick enough to stay in front of people. What I like that he's done is he's guarded the bigger Magruder.
Right.
And used his quickness in terms of surrounding Magruder when Magruder's tried to post him up.
He's going back with Magruder right now. And he is taking the bigger Magruder. What a luxury to be able to take Rutherford out over the top, and Henriquez could not finish with it. Wanted Spradling, and Adams with the interception on the turnover. Loose ball hit loose. Here's Rodriguez gliding in for the layup. Opportunity hoop for the Wildcats.
That's the second Rio Adams turnover. Another guy that Bill Self's trying to get some minutes for.
Well, he's developed Tharp this season. No question about that here tonight. This game is going to mean so much to his confidence. And here is Tharp. You can just see it in his eyes with that dribble when he picked it up. Now they come inside to the big fella. Withey misses. Henriquez. Here comes Rodriguez. Looking for another opportunity. Bounce pass. And McLemore able to get over on it.
Well, Kansas State has not been in transition very much in this first half. So Rodriguez trying to get something happening. Ronnie Magruder has not had big games against Kansas in his career. They've game planned for him well.
Spradling, and he's fouled by Adams. And Bill Self did not want that foul. He's not going to be happy if, you know, Bill Self is one of the kind of coaches is no matter how good things are going.
No.
If one thing's going wrong, I'm upset with this, okay? And we know now who's going to be in the doghouse a little bit.
And that's what makes, you know what? Great coaches don't mind confrontation. They don't mind holding a high standard.
And Self does indeed do that. Self and Bruce Weber go back because it was Bill Self who left Illinois to come to Kansas, who left the talent that Bruce Weber then coached to the Final Four. Weber, of course, is a disciple of Gene Katie's. And Gene Katie happened to be an alum of Kansas State, so I'm sure the old coach is watching here tonight, a little bit disappointed in how the team is doing, but Bruce Weber was a fine hire. Withey looks around, covers up the ball, and gets it back now to Tharp. You're going to kill a little time here with a big lead.
Make sure on a dead ball you remind me of Gene Katie, because Steve Lavin lost his dad over the weekend, and we want to send our best to the Lavin family. Steve, we're thinking of you. I know he was very close to Cap.
Timeout is called, and Coach Self is a little unhappy indeed. When I work games with Steve Lavin, the first phone call that we got was always from his father.
Absolutely.
And what a gentleman he was. Cap would talk about the broadcast, the game, love basketball, the reason that Steve got involved, and we certainly echo that in sending along our best wishes to the family. Mom and Dad live in Northern California around the San Francisco area. And, you know, we've mentioned the Illinois, the coach's connection. And let me walk you through this because it's kind of interesting. Lon Kruger was a great player at Kansas State, and he became the Illinois head coach. And then when he left in 2000, he left a stable of players behind. And look who picked up the pieces when he moved in, Bill Self. Won a couple of Big Ten titles, got to the Elite Eight. Then when Kansas called, he moved on, and he left behind that talent, and Bruce Weber guided them all the way to the national championship game. So great connection amongst the coaches here in these two schools.
Yep. And now John Gross is doing a pretty good job with the Illini.
Yes, he is.
Couple big wins this week.
Ball knocked back out of bounds here at the 1 minute mark. It's been all Jayhawks here in the first half, putting up 42 points against Coach Weber's defense, and the Wildcats will try to regroup here at the intermission. There's McLemore, catch and shoot. That's what he practiced before the game.
Enjoy him while you last. While he lasts, Jayhawk fans. He's not going to be around long.
17 points for McLemore.
Boy, is he talented. He's so efficient, Brent.
Rodriguez off the dribble. Back outside. Southwell responds with the 3 ball.
Remember, Southwell had 19 in the first meeting on plays like that because he knows how to loiter out at that 3-point line.
Last shot time here for the Jayhawks. Shot clock is off. So on this night, the Kansas Jayhawks appear to have discovered a quarterback, and you're watching him dribble right now. Shot clock down to 5, off the dribble, penetrates, kicks in Young. Oh my, what a first half for Tharp. The numbers of our 2 stars, and Tharp, of course, with his assists. He might have had a half dozen of them in the first half alone. Let's go to Holly with Coach Self. Holly.
Well, Coach Self, what has been different about your offense